Why did the Christians proclaim the gospel during the first millennium, not by breaking, destroying the idols, with some exceptions, but rather by baptizing them, transforming the sanctuaries of idols into Christian shrines? This is an objection raised by Protestantism since the 16th century and onwards. You should have broken up the idols, and by transforming the altars of the pagans into altars dedicated to the saints, to the angels, to the Virgin Mary, you have transformed Christianity into an idolatry religion, or so they say. I will answer that there were on occasion here and there Catholic fanatics at the beginning of the church, since the church was only the Catholic Church, who violently destroyed such idols. It occurred, for example, as it seems, at the temple of Philae in Egypt, but Charlemagne did this also against the Saxons with iron swords. And what did he gain, Charlemagne? Dead people, wars, and people who hated Christianity, because the kingdom of Christ does not spread through hatred. Another reason, a theological one, it must be remembered that Protestant criticism comes from exaltation, something that is not kept by the churches founded by the apostles. Christ will be the only mediator, to the point that he will not give power to his friends. For Christians of the first centuries, Christ is the only mediator, and the first act that he performs, he, the Almighty, he who gave everything, is that when someone loves him, he gives him a power. It is verbatim in the gospel, I will establish you on many, and whatever you ask in my name, I will do it. Christ says it to the point that the prophecy which says, I will make you a kingdom upon the earth of God, obviously, and priests, that means intercessors, people, are fulfilled for the Catholic Church, those who will also sacrifice themselves for those who are still on earth. Result, Catholics from the start, the Orthodox is the same religion, have always had a worship service for the saints, those who had given their lives for Christ, for angels who are friends of God, and therefore quite logically, rather than violating the pagans and their customs, their sanctuary was replaced by a close saint, close to the power of their former god, and thus, without violence, little by little, over 1 or 2 generations, the memory of this pagan god disappeared in favor of a true saint of heaven who interceded for them, who healed them. There is therefore not paganism, but the Holy Spirit who sparked evangelism through sweetness. Obviously, it took a lot of work to depaganize the countryside, to remove the superstitions that remained and to evangelize them, but it was done like that. And when at some point in the 16th century, in particular again under Protestant influence, we wanted to forcefully depaganize the regions, we burned witches, we burned them, and this shame is still upon the church. So instead of burning the witches, what did the apostles do in the first place? They blessed them, and they lost their power.